Hey there, homies. This is Sarah.
And homies, nope. This is just Ashley. Hi.
Just Ashley, apparently.
Oh, and this is Hometown Homicide. I forgot what this was.
Sure is. Oh, funny. Oh, yeah, snack time. Oh, I scared you. Never mind.
You're not eating.
It says, yeah, I think I will. Yeah, that's fine.
Coco Loco.
It's not a train, so. Hope everyone had a lovely week. There were some wicked storms apparently last night. I slept through them, so whatever.
I did not.
I had a branch come down last weekend, though.
You had a what?
Branch.
Oh, I thought you said something brain.
No brains.
Yeah.
No brains.
None over here either.
I'm just texting you.
But to a wedding last night. I'm not hungover because I had to drive home, so I did not do that. I'm just tired because I was out much later than I normally am. And then I did get woken up by the storms 3 times. One time, my bed was shaking. That is how powerful the thunder was. It was ridiculous. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, too many people for me. Like, they invited, like, the entire small town I'm from, and it was like a high school reunion of people who have not changed since high school, which we're going on almost 20 years.
My classes. I made a comment on something. I was like, are we having a 20-year reunion? Like, I had not heard of anything. I think I said that before to you. I know I said it to some people. Like, I don't know if we're having one or if we're not having one or if they just didn't want to invite me. Like, I don't know, fucking whatever. But no, they're trying to still have it. Now they're thinking, like, Labor Day weekend or some shit.
But it was good to see some people and talk to them, but I was like, I'm out. And not to be mean or anything like that, but I feel like the rudest and snobbiest people there were the parents of people I went to high school with. One literally, like, shoved me out of the way with her elbow and hit me in the tit. And I was like, and I said it out loud. I said, Jesus effing Christ, don't need to be rude. You could have asked, like, politely said, excuse me, and
damn.
I was like, that actually was super rude. And I looked right at her when I said it. Like, I don't have time for that bullshit. I was like, okay, I had enough, small town. I'm out. I'm driving the 50-some minutes home. Bye.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't want to go to the fair because
I didn't go to the fair because
hot.
of that.
It's expensive. I mean, honestly, Jones County Fair is the most fucking expensive fair. But yeah, the amount of people, even if it's not people I know, but then also I have a couple drinks and then probably mouth off to someone that pissed me off like that.
Now, what if Kesha was playing the Jones County Fair? Would you be there?
Oh, God. I probably would go. I probably would have to go. And that's not a probably. That's I'd have to go.
Or if it was the hottest day.
Don't care.
Like yesterday.
Don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
No, I don't care. I mean, it would, like, physically suck, but I would have to go.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Just one update. It's not even a thing we covered, but I know last week I mentioned the family that was slaughtered by that asshole at the Makokata Caves.
Oh, yes.
Did you see the update about that?
I did not.
So it was the Schmidt family, the mom, Sarah, the dad, Tyler, 42 years old each, and the daughter, who was 6 years old, Lula. Originally, they just said that they were shot. Tyler Schmidt, 42, died from a gunshot wound and, quote, multiple sharp force injuries, while his wife, 42-year-old Sarah Schmidt, died from multiple sharp force injuries. And then the 6-year-old daughter, Lula, died from a gunshot wound and strangulation. So this fuckface didn't just go in there and shoot and luckily miss Arlo. He had to have fucking purposely left that little boy. Like, I don't know how else. I don't know how else. And not that shooting someone obviously is not all of murder is bad, but at least, quote, quote, if he just went in and kind of shot blindly, obviously that's tragic, but like he clearly went in
with the full intent to do this.
Yes, like hands-on murder.
But how is he able to take the lives of 3 separate people without one of them interjecting? Maybe they tried and that's when he stabbed. But how do you have a gun and a knife?
I feel like
or something sharp?
Maybe he stabbed the mom to death first, which would be quieter, if dad was sleepy out of it and like not paying attention, or not paying attention, but like coming awake. I don't know. And then of course the girl, she could have just been petrified and sitting there and easy target, but
terrible.
It's fucking bonkers. And then, he went and took care of his own life so nobody could get real justice. I guess I didn't read into it much, just I knew that this guy had no connection with him. Like, he was camping with his parents out there, too, at Makokada. And he killed himself. Let me see. Died from self-inflicted gunshot wound after the attack in their tent. So he killed himself in their tent.
Like he went back to his family's tent?
No, like in the Schmidt's tent, it sounds like. So after
I thought they found his body somewhere else because they thought there was someone at large that did this and then they found his body not near the tent. That's what I originally read.
Well, of course, we also originally heard that they were all shot, too. Right. And I don't know if maybe they went back and realized he wasn't part of that family, and just things got misconstrued. But this one says the department confirmed Thursday that the killer was Anthony Sherwin of La Vista, Nebraska, who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after the attack on the family early on the morning of July 22nd in their tent at the Makokada Caves State Park campground, and that he was at the park camping with his parents at the time of the attack. Again, all the thoughts and prayers and good vibes to Arlo.
My story, this one, I have heard so many things about growing up because this happened next door to my aunt and uncle's house. I was there swimming a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh yeah, that couple. And so started talking about it, started doing research. So my story begins on the morning of January 30th, 1975, on a quiet street in a small town of Anamosa, Iowa. I just liked how I did that.
I know, it was very dramatic.
Greg Holub, 24, walked into his mother Patricia and his stepfather's... Do you know Greg Holub?
Well, Holub, that's what...
Just sounds really familiar.
We got a shit ton of them over in Monty, so...
So he walked into the house of his mom, Patricia, his stepdad, Clarence, after Clarence didn't show up to pick him up for a construction job, where he found both his mother and Clarence dead from apparent gunshot wounds. In an interview that Greg provided, he said it was about 7:10 that morning. The lights were still on in the house, along with the TV, and the doors were closed. He went in and saw his stepfather laying on his back in the living room. There was some blood, but as soon as he touched him, he knew he was dead and had been there for some time because of how cold he was. Then he found his mother laying on her back in the back porch, maybe about 10 to 15 feet from her husband.
Plane?
No, it was a vehicle.
Sounded
like a crotch rocket.
Mm.
But yeah. There wasn't any evidence of a struggle besides an upset bookshelf. 3 cartridge cases from shells that had been shot were found, so they think they were both shot with a rifle of a large caliber. And Clarence didn't own a rifle. that Greg knew of. After Greg found the bodies, he ran outside to the car where another member of the construction crew, John Dirks from Fairview, was waiting in the car and told him to drive to the police station. Now, I don't know why he didn't pick up a phone, but if you're in a state of shock.
Yeah.
There were no cell phones in 1975.
Right. Might not want to disturb anything, too. You know.
Now, Patricia Edwards was described as a friendly and outgoing person that everyone liked. She sang every Sunday in the Methodist Church choir. Jones County Sheriff Ralph Albaugh knew Patricia through her work at the prison and said she was a wonderful person. The slaying of Clarence and Patricia was just another tragedy for the family. 2 years prior to this, Patricia and they had 2 kids together. Greg was from Patricia's former marriage. Mm-hmm. Their son and daughter, James was 18 and Sheila was 15. They were both killed in separate car accidents a month apart in the fall of 1973.
Oh my God.
How terrible.
Yeah.
To lose both your kids, that you guys had together within a month.
Yeah, that sucks.
So the night before this happened, on January 29th, Ronald Brewer, 35, of Council Bluffs, who at the time was serving a life term for second-degree murder at the Iowa Men's Reformatory at Anamosa, where Patricia also worked as a secretary in the educational program of Kirkwood Community College of Cedar Rapids. That's what it was called then, Kirkwood Community College of Cedar Rapids.
Interesting.
Where she had been there for almost 3 years. According to the Des Moines Register, from what prison guard Herb Pennock of Anamosa told them, Brewer was to teach a CPR class at the Anamosa High School to bus drivers. He had done this many times. And I had this all in a paragraph that I deleted, so I may be missing information. While at the high school, Brewer asked to go to the bathroom, and he was allowed to do so. And then about 6:15, 6:20-ish that night, Pennock looked out the school door and noticed Brewer in the front seat of his car, of Pennock's car, because he was the one who took him from the reformatory to the high school. Mm-hmm. He was his ride. Mm-hmm. Brewer motioned for Pennock for Pennock to come to the car, so he did, and when he got there, Brewer pointed to the rifle that was in the vehicle and told him to get in and drive off. That's when he drove him to Dubuque, and then they continued to drive around town for 30 minutes before another car stopped and Brewer got out and got into the other vehicle. Pennock then went to the Dubuque police station and called the prison at about 8:45 p.m. to report the escape, and also said that he was kidnapped, that he made him do it. Mm-hmm. The warden at the men's reformatory at Anamosa said Brewer was classified as a minimum security prisoner because, taking the life of someone else, qualifies you for minimum security.
Right.
And his record is what they would normally call a model inmate. And because he had an emergency medical technician status that allowed him out of the prison walls under guard supervision about 50 to 60 times for classes. So he was allowed outside a lot.
Yeah.
After the bodies of Patricia and Clarence were found, the FBI issued a warrant for Brewer's arrest on a charge of unlawful flight to avoid confinement. One FBI agent had reason to suspect Brewer might have left the state. The Iowa Bureau of Criminal Investigation sent 6 agents to the crime scene, stated they weren't saying there was a connection between the deaths and the escape of the convict, but they were leaving their options open. Brewer was considered to be armed and dangerous, and anyone who was to see him should contact the nearest law enforcement agency right away. The escaped convict was described as about 5 feet 7 inches and 145 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair. He also had 3 fingers amputated from his left hand. I don't know which ones. And he had 2 tattoos, a red heart, a scroll with the word mom tattooed in it, and his initials RWB on his upper left arm. Pennock's lawyer said Brewer and Pennock had become like friends over the years since Pennock became a guard at the prison in 1972. Pennock was suspended with pay after Brewer escaped, pending an investigation. Apparently, Pennock even had Brewer over to his home for Thanksgiving dinner, which to me I find super inappropriate as a guard to do. Like, he's in there for murder. Might be a second degree, but like he
even
murdered.
if it's for stealing a bag of Cheetos, you know, minus the trying to set the gas station on fire. But even if it's for stealing, you know, a fucking candy bar, he's still an inmate.
Right.
Like, nah, bruh.
Now, Ronald Brewer, he was born July 20th, 1939. He was sentenced to life in prison on December 2nd, 1963, after pleading guilty to second-degree murder for the slaying of Lawrence Ray, 22, with a rifle in August 1963. He was moved from the Iowa State Penitentiary in Fort Madison to a medium security facility at Oakdale before being transferred to Anamosa the August of 1971. Now, the autopsy results showed Patricia was shot twice, once in the chin and once in the back. Clarence was shot in the chest. The shootings were done with a high-powered rifle. Now, Pennock had given the story to investigators. He was kidnapped. Ron Brewer made him do this. That's not actually what happened. So, according to State of Iowa v. Brewer, the night of January 29th, Pennock picked up Brewer at the prison to go to the high school. 2 days earlier, Pennock had purchased a rifle and ammunition at Brewer's request, at an inmate's request who was serving a life sentence for murder with a rifle. According to Pennock, Brewer told him he needed the rifle and the ammunition in order to escape with Patricia. And he needed the rifle to ward off Edwards. Clarence, Mr. Edwards. Pennock then gave the rifle to Brewer, and after they unloaded the class equipment, drove him to and dropped him off at the Edwards house. So just took him right there with the gun and ammunition.
Lovely.
Before he returned back to the high school. A short time later, Brewer returned back to the high school and confessed to Pennock that he shot the Edwards. Pennock did what any prison guard would do, and that was to drive Brewer to Dubuque, which was about a good 45 minutes away, and dropped him off with another person, then called authorities to tell him he had been kidnapped. So Pennock was arrested, and he was held in Jones County Jail on a $2,500 bond following an interrogation concerning Brewer's escape. He was charged for giving a false testimony while under subpoena. Pennock had served 4 years in a California prison on a manslaughter conviction and paroled before becoming a corrections officer at Anamosa.
I'm sorry. Why would you hire someone as a CO if you're a fucking convicted?
He wasn't the only one. Anamosa
Jesus
hired multiple
Christ.
convicted felons.
And I mean, reform can happen. Like, I get that. Okay. Whatever. But, like, in the case of someone is dead because of you, and then you get to be hired to be in charge of other criminals.
Well, Pennock was being held in Jones County. Brewer was still on the loose, and the FBI continued to check out reported sightings of Brewer, including one report that he was seen in Wisconsin. Pennock did plead guilty to a federal charge of using false identification in buying a 30 caliber rifle. He ended up serving 15 months in a federal prison. Now, the warden at Anamosa was warned on January 24th that Brewer might try to escape.
Oh, really?
After a Council Bluffs police officer called the reformatory saying that an informant had told them that Brewer was thinking of escaping. So he's from Council Bluffs. That's where he killed that young man, Lawrence Ray. So privileges allowing Brewer to go outside of the prison were suspended immediately, but reinstated the next day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
After the informant said he made a mistake.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who made that informant say he made a mistake?
They did not name the informant.
Huh.
They kept that confidential. Ronald Brewer was arrested at the Greyhound bus station February 25th.
Damn, he was gone for almost a month.
Yeah. He faced 2 murder counts for the deaths of Patricia and Clarence.
What Greyhound station?
So when I read this, it did not say, but it said that the article was from Phoenix, Arizona. So I don't know if he made it down to Phoenix or if that's just where the report came from.
It'd be strange to release an article that far away if it had nothing to do with that location, but
it was still an Iowa newspaper, but it said Phoenix, Arizona then.
Oh.
So I'm guessing Phoenix, but I tried to search for more articles, and of course I could not find them.
Provocative. Okay.
Because it took me forever to even find when he was arrested, when he was caught. Now, he was facing 2 counts of murder for both Patricia and Clarence. Brewer denied shooting Patricia and Clarence and also denied charges of escaping. You were caught almost a month later.
You're supposed to be in jail, bruh, and you're not. So,
yeah.
How do you explain that?
Now, Brewer was only charged for murder of Clarence and not Patricia. And I found out why, but during the 6-day trial, the defense for Brewer attempted to create reasonable doubt in the minds of the jury that Brewer had committed the killing. So this was Clarence's trial because they were going to do separate trials, one for Clarence, one for Patricia, which I don't know why they would do that. It would make sense to do.
I think sometimes it'd be a matter of, I don't know.
I don't know.
You could charge in the same trial. You could still charge him with separately. So if for some reason he was found not guilty the one. So yeah, I don't know. Budget. I don't know.
So they pointed out that there was no weapon. There were no fingerprints found or eyewitnesses to the killing. All physical evidence points to someone else, Herbert Pennock. So they think he did it because he was known for lying. The only evidence of motive was from Pennock's testimony that Brewer was going to run away with Patricia, but all other witnesses testified there was nothing between Brewer and Patricia. Now, I did read that she did write a letter because he was one of her students at the penitentiary to get him released. But if you're serving a life term and haven't been there very long, I don't know why she would write a letter stating he should be released.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he had the possibility of parole and she was kind of giving him a... All I can think of is recommendation letter, and that's for jobs. But you know what I mean, like a character letter type deal. I don't know.
But anyways, there was nothing. No one could link the two together besides he was her student. Brewer was given a mandatory life sentence in the Fort Madison State Penitentiary for the murder of Clarence Edwards. He was found guilty by Lynn County District Court. The charge that he killed Patricia was dropped. Brewer requested to be tried for the 3rd murder charge, but Iowa Attorney General Richard Turner denied the request because he was already serving 2 life sentences, and why would they seek a 3rd life sentence? We can punish you no further, he said.
I mean, yeah, why waste people's time and money?
That's why I don't know why they didn't do 2 of them together.
At the same time. Yeah, I don't know.
And the last little piece of information is a few years later, Brewer then sued the state of Iowa for $2 million for hiring a guard who aided his escape and who had a background of manslaughter and had served time. It was a whole thing, and I can't figure out, I couldn't find if he won. I'm assuming he didn't.
Well, even if he did, what the fuck's he gonna do with $2 million in jail?
In prison.
Yeah.
Like, so that is
Oh my god.
the story of Clarence and Patricia Edwards. And didn't know their names before. All I knew was the story. We spent a lot of time growing up next to this house. Heard about it. I just knew that an inmate escaped and killed 2 people because they were going to run away together. That's what I heard growing up, so I had to find out more. And yeah, prison guard who also served time but was paroled, helped him escape, gave him the weapon to commit the murder, dropped him off at the house, and then was like, oh, I was kidnapped.
Jesus.
And when I'm swimming, I can see the porch
Yeah.
where Mrs. Patricia Edwards' life was taken. So sad.
Yeah. I'm assuming since it's, a bajillion years later that this guy's dead by now.
Inmate who killed Pear in 1975 dies in prison. Inmate Ronald Brewer, 68, who escaped in 1975 and killed an Anamosa couple in their home, died Tuesday at the Iowa State Penitentiary after a long illness with advanced lung disease.
Sucks to suck.
This was the Des Moines Register, March 20th, 2008.
Good. Welcome.
That was my first story coming back after the move.
Yay. Well, thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
It was very informative. I have a bug bite on my toe. What the fuck? Sorry, it was itching. I'm like, what's going on down there?
Make sure you do hit the subscribe. If you do like what you hear, tell us why. We love to hear that. And Missy.
I was just going to say, Missy, congrats again on the merch.
Yep,
winning.
and she's getting a t-shirt ordered for what she likes. But that's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe. Do it all, please.
Like us, love us, share us. Oh! BT Dubs. I forgot for a whole week to tell you that we had finally a fucking hit in Wyoming.
Oh.
And then the other day, we got one in... Fuck, which state is that? They're
Probably out east.
They're
Rhode Island.
Siamese twins. Or what are them things called? Oh, New Hampshire. We got a hit in New Hampshire. I knew it was one of the 2 that were together, but I couldn't remember which one was which.
Awesome.
So now we're down to 3. We're only down to 3 states that don't have a hit. Vermont, Rhode Island, and Alaska.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks guys. Remember, we want to tell stories to you and not about you. So stay safe.
And this was Hometown Homicide.